Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Season 3, Round number 3 of the ANZCAR Thunder series. It is Wednesday night. We are in the Xfinity cars. It is the Thunder series, and it is a happy 5th birthday to ANZCAR itself. A big thank you to everybody that's competed, and of course, all of the admins from past and present that do all of the hard work. So a big thank you to them. I am, as ever, Mr. Carl Wilkinson with you, and joining me up here in the booth on the cameras and piping in when he needs to, Mr. Matty Hunter. Matt, how are you going, mate?
I'm going good, thank you, Cal. It's good to be here, and yeah, good to have you here as well.
Yeah, always nice to be here. Nice to be out on a Wednesday night. It's been a bit of time since I've been lurking around for Thunder, but excited for tonight's race. We are here at Kansas, of course, and a few drivers are going to be clicking their heels together 3 times and hoping that they can get a good result tonight. We're just heading into qualifying, but before we do that, just going to run through the championship standings. We don't have a graphics up for it at the moment. After 2 rounds, though, is Micklemore in the lead, 5 points ahead of J. Russ in second. 9 points down is Stevie Dubb in third. Then we have Luke Georgeson in fourth. Good start to the season for him. 10 points off the lead. 13 points down in fifth is Tom Neal and Mr. Matty Ray. Mr. Sheen keeping it as clean as ever. Seventh, we have Ruben Phelps, 14 points off the lead. Eighth is Hamish Gallagher. Not the start to the season he'll be hoping for. He's 15 points off the championship lead at the moment. Odd to see Hamish Gallagher so far down. Jamie Nankirvis sits in ninth position, 16 points off the lead. 19 points behind is Norman Clark in 10th at the moment. I'm currently looking at Lachlan as we come here for the qualifying lap here at Kansas Motor Speedway. So we'll watch this lap and get a good idea of the speeds of this place. Relatively high speed track. They're going to be looking at taking a slightly higher line here. It's one of those tracks where you tend to run that slightly higher groove to get the pace out the car. You can go a little bit low in some of the corners, but it does tend to heat the tyres up a little bit. Sometimes it's a little bit better to run that slightly higher line to get the tyres working. A little bit of a wiggle there for Lockie on the exit of turn number 4. He comes across the line to start his second lap. Edward Foster currently in the lead. On the second lap, Lachlan might try going a little lower, but he's just going to scrape the wall, and that is that. His qualifying is over.
Yeah, that will be an invalid flag lap there. Obviously, even if you get a 0x touch of the wall, it invalidates your qualifying lap there, unfortunately.
Yeah, it will absolutely ping you. And he was just trying to take a slightly higher entry and then go down and take a lower line to get the speed, the ultimate speed out there on that second lap. That was going to be his fast one, but it did not work out well for him there. Car just didn't turn. He just lost the front end. Aidan Schultz sets his second lap. He's sitting just behind Foster at the moment. Foster currently the fastest man with a 31.18. Quite a few drivers out there at the moment, though. We're just on board with
Number 17.
17. Yeah.
Nigel, oh, that's a name for you to pronounce.
Nigel Sedell,
Siddell? Yeah, I think so.
or Seidel, I guess you could. It could be Seidel, but I'll go with Sedell.
Apologies if we got it wrong.
Look, if I got it right, then that's an even bigger. That's worrisome. Got Brad Fenley on the track at the moment as well in the VB machine, the mean green VB machine. Everybody's least favourite alcoholic beverage. I did see actually that they've got a brand new male fragrance sort of shampoo, conditioner, and body wash now, VB, which possibly is one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in my life. But
VB deodorant?
yeah, yeah, they have deodorant as
Wow.
well, I'm pretty sure. So if you ever want to smell like VB, there's your chance. So useless information there. Jumping up to the top of the chart, so is Hamish Gallagher and Josh Micklemore. So the Mitch Motorsport boys absolutely running well at the moment with Stevie Dubb in third. So they've had a really good run. Brad Bentley, bit of a slow first lap. He's going to try for that second lap. Hope for a better run this time round. He's been having a solid run. Those drivers are just improving every race he gets into, just getting better and better as he goes, gets across the line, and doesn't look like he's improved on that one. So P19
Still
for him.
P19, yeah.
And I think that's it for the drivers out there. So that's everybody had their run now.
Let's
So
have a
it
quick
looks.
look through the grid and let's see if the grid is all working properly. No, it's not.
We'll give it a slap and see if it resets itself when everybody starts lining up on the grid.
Yeah, it might be a case of that's the practice session time, so we have to wait till it clicks over to the race session. We'll give it a go once
Always
it clicks
fun.
over.
Technical difficulties. What would life be without them, eh?
Little quirks.
But as we say, we are here at Kansas Motor Speedway, of course. One of those tracks that it seems fairly simple when you look at it, but it is one of those tracks that can be quite hard. 1.5 mile oval. It tends to be one of those tracks where running the high line can be a little bit more suitable for yourself. Sort of, you tend to want to run the low line in on oval racing because that's usually the faster way. But Kansas, the high line tends to be a little bit softer on the tyres.
Yeah, it's all about keeping that momentum up, really, and less turning circle, and so that helps save the tyres a little bit.
Indeed, it does, and there are a few corners here that can catch you out. It's I'll say it's the sort of tri-oval configuration, but there are a couple of nasty bumps in there which can absolutely catch you out. So let's run through that starting order. So on the front row, it is Hamish Gallagher, the reigning champion, with his teammate Josh Micklemore on the outside. Row 2, it is Stevie Dubb with Edward Foster. On the third row, we've got Ryan Jones with Nigel Patton. Fourth row, we've got Aidan Schultz and Raymond Yeager. Row 5, we have Ruben Phelps with Lachlan Urquio. So we roll over to row 6. It is Luke Georgeson with Norman Clark. Row 7, Tom Pritchard and Tom Neal. Two Toms on the same row. Row 8 is Adam Tice with Noddy Tompkins. Row 9 is Brett Campbell, Nigel Siddell. Row 10 is Brad Fenley and Wesley Closely. Row 11 is Maddie Ray with Jamie Curvis. And then bringing up the rear is the mad dog himself, Mr. Stevie Hoppet. Voice that we are well familiar with up in the broadcast booth, but he is out there tonight racing the car and hopefully is going to be looking for a good run tonight. It will be nice to see him have a fairly solid one tonight. Hopefully it all goes well for him.
Yes, hopefully a good solid run for the Mad Dog tonight.
Absolute fan favourite, of course, Stevie Hoppet.
Cult-like status.
Yeah, absolutely. A cult following. The man, the myth, and the legend, Mr. Steve Hoppet. But no, really, really fun to see him out there. It's nice to see him running. As much as we love having him up here in the broadcast booth, it is nice to see him out on track. So, pace car will pull away very shortly and we will get the race started. So, pace car pulls away and they pull away 2 by 2. We are looking at 100 laps here tonight. Fuel-wise, it could be a little bit tricky for these drivers. It might be a little bit of fuel saving to get it to that sort of 50-lap mark, to get halfway, and of course, keeping the tyres alive as well is always tricky to do. Track temperature at the moment is 37 degrees with a ambient temperature of 24 degrees Celsius, so it's a little bit warm out there, and that track is going to get warm as well, and that can cause a few issues, of course. Hotter track means hotter tyres, and we have seen that sometimes that can cause a little bit of trouble when you get a little bit of tyre overheating. So, of course, trying to keep the temperatures down is going to be the goal because you get the thermal degradation and you get the normal degradation as well. So, just keeping those temperatures to a relatively comfortable range is going to be the key tonight. So, expect to see a few people trying to run the high line to do that. But pace car is coming around turns 3 and 4, getting to the tri-oval. Pace car comes in, we're getting to the Geico Restart zone, and it is going to be the Affinity Construction car, sponsored car of Hamish Gallagher, leading us away. Waits for last minute, gets his foot on the floor, leads us away from round number 3 of season 3 of the ANZCAR Thunder Championship, and has a beautiful start there, slides up in front of his teammate of Josh Micklemore. Just behind him, it looks like Ryan Jones is trying to get a chase. He goes down the inside of Stevie Dubb at the moment. This could give Foster a little bit of a chance of a run on Ryan Jones now, as he loses a little bit of pace on the exit of the corner. The high line will get a better pace on the exit of the corner, the low line, better pace in the mid corner. All just in the background. Looks like Jaeger's hit the wall. Big contact for Jaeger in the wall. He's got some damage there, but he's okay. We've got the racing up the front to look at, though. Ryan Jones and Foster side by side at the moment. Jones deciding just to slip in behind Foster at the moment. And he's decided to tuck in behind Foster now rather than fighting him too much and cause too much damage to the tyres early on in this session.
Yeah, it was pretty aggressive there early on there. I think there was a bit of side-by-side contact there between the 98 and 11, which got Ryan a little bit loose off the turn 4 exit and sort of slowed him down there. So he sort of decided just to hang back a bit and tuck back in and settle into 5th place at the moment as Foster makes the pass on the 98 of Williams for 3rd place.
Yeah, the most experienced man in the ANZCAR field, Mr. Stevie Dubb. He absolutely takes that title. We, of course, we had our little bit of birthday celebration with the ANZCAR series, and we've got a few stats for that as well, which Stevie Dubb, unsurprisingly, was the driver with the most starts, and he's absolutely a stalwart of the series.
He is, and he's a long way ahead than a lot of drivers. He's a good 50, 60 races ahead, I think, than the next closest driver in terms of starts.
Very much so. We're missing our all-time winner out there, one of the Mitch boys, of course, Mr. Jason Martin, teammate to the current leaders of Hamish Gallagher and Josh Mickelmore. So they'll be hoping to get a victory just to help with the odd stats for that team. Very strong team indeed. And big thank you to AC Racing 44 Alex, just mentioning on the stream. Really appreciate that. We've Mr. Matty Hunter's been doing a lot of work upgrading little bits and bobs and getting things working out, and also one of our regular competitors, Mr. Riley Curtis, doing some work on some of the graphics as well. So big thank you to him.
Yeah, busting out the long hours at the moment, trying to make up a new graphics system that'll be I think it'll look a lot better. So yeah, you can see that new Thunder logo up in the top right hand corner there, done by Riley Curtis Design.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's not out here tonight, missing Riley. It's a shame not to see him out here, but I'm sure we'll see him back in the car very shortly. Just up in front, Foster getting past Mickelmore, so Foster's on a bit of a charge now. And speaking of stats, Josh Mickelmore has finished in the top 10 239 times from 320 starts. That's 74% of the time. He is very much a consistent driver. He's one of those drivers that is very good at keeping in the top 10, and it makes him one of those drivers that's very hard to beat in championships. But the man that tends to beat him in championships, at least in the Thunder, is Hamish Gallagher, who has an unbelievably good record in these cars, especially in the last couple of years.
Yeah, this is the Hamish's car, that's for sure. He's got this car worked out, and he's got it worked out on all tracks as well. He is. It doesn't seem to have a weak type of track at all. It's short tracks, super speedways, road courses. He's always up there or thereabouts in the points. And then, yeah, there's some oval tracks where he's just very, very good and dominating at, like Darlington last week.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan Jones just making a move on Stevie Dubb there. He's trying to get that move done, and Steve Williams is really battling away. There's some good fights going on throughout the field at the moment as well. So quite a few battles going on. Just keeping our eyes at the front of the field at the moment. This is where the majority of the fighting is happening. And as usual, I would say, Ryan Jones, the car that's doing most of the battling out on track. He tends to like to go hard and early. And he is doing that at the moment. Very, very close to contact there between himself and Josh Mickelmore.
A little bit of a slider there. Probably not intentional. Probably just got quite a bit of pushing up the track earlier, I think.
Yeah, and that's one of the issues. There is proper contact.
Yeah, Josh had a slider as well and came up into Jones.
Big moment there, and I think Luke Georgeson had a huge moment trying to avoid that one as well. Same as Ruben Phelps. Ruby's just got right underneath there, A lot of cars just having to avoid that one. Who was that up in the wall? I think it was Ruben Phelps actually got up in the wall after avoiding him. He went down below, but unfortunately he's gone right across the apron, and that's launched him up into the wall. So Ruben did a great job of avoiding, but then ended up getting back on track, and it's launched him up into the wall. So heavy contact on the right front of the 06, and that is a shame for one of our members of the Kiwi contingency out there. As there's contact in the background, we've got one of the SRM cars having a big moment across the tri-oval. It was Noddy Tompkins with one of the After Dark cars of Tom Neal. So Noddy Tompkins has gone up into the wall, ended up hitting the wall, and unfortunately he's bounced down into Tom Neal. No caution from that one, but just a little bit of contact on that wall, that little rebound, and unfortunately Neil was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, as you say, wrong place, wrong time. Noddy's got into the wall there, and Neil's had nowhere to go. He's just been collected.
It's one of those incidents that, probably 5 times out of 10 there wouldn't be anything else from it. You might have seen Noddy going across the tribal, across the grass there, but unfortunately Neil was just on the inside there, and he got caught heavily with that one. Similar to Ruben Phelps, just unlucky really, avoiding an accident but getting caught up in it anyway, and it almost ends up catching you a little bit more than you would hope for. But all the cars are running, so that is some good news. They're still going, a little bit damaged. There's quite a few that have got some chunks taken out of them. Looking at Wesley closely as well, in the 75, and he's got a huge chunk missing out of the right front. He's coming up behind Adam Tice in that beautiful Hellman's sponsored car. He is just coming up there, but a lot of damage on the right front of Wesley closely there. He's taken a big chunk out of the wall. Adam Tice as well has taken a bit of a bite out the wall as well. A fair few people hitting the right front at the moment, and they are struggling, it looks like, with the front tyres. Up at the front at the moment, somebody that's struggling a little bit is actually Hamish Gallagher. The back end of that car was fully stepped out, and this has given Foster an opportunity to get a run in him in the Natari entry. So Natari against Mitch Motorsport, we've seen this battle a fair few times. Natari, one of the newer teams to the series, but they have been battling with Mitch for quite a long time. Mitch Motorsport, of course, when they entered, we called them the super team for a reason, because they were one heck of an entry, and they have not proven us wrong.
No, they're always very certainly in the Thunder, very dominant in the Thunder, and had a bit of a slow start to the season in the Cup Series as well, but certainly tuning up the heat now, and yeah, Jason and Josh both starting to run pretty good there.
Oh, as we've got a caution. We've got a caution as one of the After Dark cars has gone around. I think it might be Luke.
Looks like Schultz.
No, front
52.
Aiden Schultz, sorry. Sorry, it was the Sky Point. Sorry, very similar paint schemes to the side, and contact between himself and Jaeger. Just a little tap from Jaeger on the inside there with Schultz, and that has spun Schultz around, and unfortunately that brought out the first caution of the race on lap 17. Not much damage though for Aiden Schultz. That's good news for him.
No, it looks like Raymond just got a little bit of a wiggle. Came up the track. Is that what caused caution? Or the contact? No, I'll let it run.
Just catches the rear quarter panel here.
Yeah,
and then around they go.
So I think they were just wobbling a little bit down the straight, maybe racing a bit too hard and a bit too close together, and maybe hit the bump, and that's sort of what set them off there. We'll see if we can jump back again and have another look. Yeah. No, we'll let the stewards decide that one if that's it.
Oh, and then who was? I think Aiden Schultz rejoining the track, unfortunately, and Steve Hoppett was the. You'll see Stevie Hoppett there.
Yeah. The Mad Dog's going to be mad about that. We'll jump back live as everybody is in the pits.
It is pit stop time for everybody. Will we see everybody taking tyres? Looks like Patton has taken. Patton might have only taken fuel. I'm just going to go back at that one. See if he only took fuel. If he took right side only. No, it just took fuel on my screen. And with the time that he was stationary of 7.8 seconds, that would make sense. Same with Brett Campbell. So we have to be a little bit careful because sometimes the graphics do lie to us on whether they've taken tyres or not, as we found out the other week. But with the times there, a few drivers just taking fuel, not taking tyres. So interesting there. Obviously, they feel like the tyre life is not falling off too much for them, so they're not too concerned about the tyres. So that is interesting to see that they have decided to keep a set of tyres on there and just go for fuel. And that jumps Patton up into the lead of this race as well in the Pinnacle Esports entry.
Indeed, yes. Of course, the drivers they get 3 extra sets of tyres, so they start on a set and then they have 3 changes. So they've got to make those last all 100 laps. So perhaps if some of the drivers feel like there's going to be a lot more cautions, they might see the benefit in trying to hold on to a set of tyres and not use them up at the moment, which is possibly what Patton's done there. He's either done right side tyres only or he's done fuel only to save a set of tyres, hoping that there'll be a lot more cautions and at the end of the race he'll be the only one with a fresh set of tyres.
It's taken that bit of a gamble. From what I could see on the graphics, which are not always reliable, but it didn't look like any of those guys that took fuel only took tyres. So fuel only for Brett Campbell, Patton, Brad Fenley, Nigel Siddell, and that's it. Everybody else looks like they took for full service. So we'll see how those new fresh tyres work out. As somebody's having a bit of a blink fest in the in the group, but we are getting ready to go green here, and you'll see a little Geico restart zone on the right hand side. That's where you got to restart. Patton waits just towards the end to get that restart. Foster almost gets him on that restart. You can see the difference of fresh tyres. So much more traction off the acceleration for those guys on the fresh tyres. They're going to go flying around Patton now.
Keep an eye on Patton because he's going to drop a bit. Yeah, those old tyres definitely holding him up.
Oh, contact between Foster and Gallagher. Very light contact between Foster and Gallagher into turn 3 and 4. They both keep it going, but Foster's managed to take the lead there. A little bit of rubbing his race in there between those two.
Yes, I think Foster's seen how dominant Hamish has been in this car, and he's decided that he's going to come out and have a crack and see if he can start taking some wins away from Hamish and stopping that dominance.
Yeah, he's going to try, isn't he? It looks like Hamish didn't appreciate that little bit of a door touch, and he's going to get right underneath the rear of Foster now. Will we see a little bit of bump and run coming into this one? They are fighting tooth and nail, and then just behind them, it is absolute madness. Stevie Dubb, Ryan Jones, Josh Micklemore all going for it as Ryan Jones makes the move on. Stevie Dubb gets down on the inside at the moment. Will he be able to hold it? Will he be able to get the move done? Williams will get the better run out of the corner here. Ryan Jones is going to get the run into the corner, but he decides to tuck up behind him.
I think he might have got a bit loose off that corner exit. He might have had to just lift a little bit. Either that or he did purposely lift to just tuck him behind Williams there. But yeah, I'm having a hard time working out who to keep an eye on for the cameras because there's good action going down throughout the whole field, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's great action at the front, and then if we jump back to Matty Ray and all of those boys, Ruben Phelps, it is 2 to 3 wide a little bit further back. There is some real action going on in the mid pack at the moment. It is it's hard to know where to look. This is where you need about six different computers showing 6 different screens because there is so much action going on the track at the moment. But up the front, it has stabilised a little bit. I'll keep an eye on that part for you. But the mid pack at the moment is absolute chaos.
Yeah, they're still working their way around Patton on those old tyres. You can just see everyone's got a massive speed advantage over him.
Yeah, the old tyres definitely not paying off. All the drivers that took fuel only have dropped like stones and fallen down the order at a vast rate of knots. They're still running 2 wide in that mid-pack. You can see it there. And they are really pushing at the moment. Matty Ray just getting past Patton. He's going to sit behind Tom Pritchard now. And he's going to want to try and get ahead there. Really good racing in the mid-pack at the moment. which is what we like to see. And I think people want to get the moves done early on because they've seen that once the tyres get bedded in a little bit, there's not much you can do. You do tend to struggle a little bit. So interesting to see the people trying to make the moves early on here. And then we'll, of course, we haven't had a proper long run yet. So we don't know how these cars will go in the latter stages of the run.
Yeah, it'll depend on whether it, if you save it a little bit at the beginning, whether it's going to give much back to you later in the run. Because we'd be looking around about lap 65-ish, maybe 70 for pit stops if we still go green from here. But then the question is whether you want to split up the remaining laps into a nice even chunk of 40 and 40.
Yeah, if it remains green, it's probably worth coming in that little bit, maybe that couple of laps earlier, just to get that slight undercut. You don't want to have too much of that because you will lose the tyre pace. But if you can build up a big enough lead, that can be a big, that can be really handy in the latter stages of a stint. So, be interesting to see if anybody decides to come in around about I'd say about lap 55, lap 60, and see if they can get a nice advantage. And then I reckon we'll see a lot of people just sitting out there, of course, trying to just in case there's that late caution. That's the gamble you've got to play with sometimes. Up at the front, though, it is Foster in the lead, just a flea's hair ahead of Hamish Gallagher. A little bit of a gap between about half a car length between those two. Barely anything there. Gallagher just sitting there watching Foster and wanting to make his pounce move, but he's just going to let him sit there for the moment. A little bit further back, it is Stevie Dubb ahead of Ryan Jones and Josh Mickelmore.
And then sitting in 6th place, we've got Lachlan Urquio. And 7th good run so far for the 274 of Luke Georgeson, sitting in 7th. Norman Clark, solid run in 8th place so far. Ruben Phelps on a bit of a recovery mission from that getting caught up in that little incident earlier in 9th place. And rounding out the top 10 is Roman Jaeger.
Yeah, Ruben Phelps, he's sort of
as we've got a spin behind him.
Going around.
Yep, got it loose off the exit of 4 there. And that is the most common place that people have trouble on this track. So far we've seen tonight.
Is a tricky corner indeed, and he's just got back on track. He's got a couple of cars heading up very quickly towards him as well. The 37 just getting there. It looks like Brett Campbell was almost thinking about going 3 wide there. Decided better of it though. Probably a wise decision not to go 3 wide in that instance. But yes, it's one of those moments and just tagging that wall, and that's where we saw Noddy Tompkins have that moment as well earlier on in the race. And it's easy to have happen, and that's exactly what we said when he tagged. I think it possibly was it was Tom Neal. I think he tagged Noddy, of course. And unfortunately, when you do it yourself and there's nobody around you, not too much damage happens. But when there's somebody on your inside, then a big accident happens, and that's exactly what happened earlier in the race. This time, though, it was just a single car out there.
Yeah, it's always unlucky to get caught up in those if you're on the inside.
Never fun being the driver that gets punted.
Yep, that's cost me many a good finish. A good run, that. As we see, Mickelmore has just got past Jones there. They've kind of dropped back a bit from Williams. Williams in 3rd has sort of put a little bit of a gap on Mickelmore and Jones there in 4th and 5th. And Lockie's caught up, joined onto the back of them as well.
A little bit further back, got Norman Clark making a move on Luke Georgeson now. Norman storming his way through the field. 09 moving up through the field nicely and just slides up in front of Georgeson there. Georgeson having a strong run in the top 10 again tonight. Been having some good runs recently. He's got Ruben Phelps right on his tail now. Ruben's going to be looking at trying to get past. He's going to really want to get up towards some of the higher positions. Ruben's been having a fairly good run this season. Some very strong finishes, but sometimes luck has not always been on his side.
No, I think he had a pretty good season 2. I think he was in top 3, or definitely top 5. Finished in the last season 2. Probably have a look at bringing those up.
Yeah, well, that's
Have a look at
actually
those stats. Yeah,
just on that one myself. So, yeah, I remember he had a fairly decent season, top five. So he finished in fifth last
that's
year,
right.
just behind. It was a big battle between himself and Dyson at the end of the season, and he just finished 5 points behind Andrew Dyson, but beat Matty Ray. So it was a good little battle towards the end of that season between himself and. Look, strong finish last year, and he had a fairly solid run. Um, it's he's had some sort of some strong runs in the past, and it seems lately he's just been struggling a little bit for the winning pace. But he's always up there in the top 10, top 5 positions, which is always a good thing to do. If you can have that consistency, that is always a good thing, rather than sort of being 20th one week and then up there challenging for the win the next week and then nowhere for the rest of the month.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe something that he has struggled with a little bit in the past. He's had a few tracks which have been a bit of a weakness for him, but he's definitely worked on those and improved on those quite a bit. Just having a little look up the front. The gap has sort of eked out to almost a second now at the front. So they're really settling into this run now. Feels like they've been going for ages, but it's only 17 laps so far.
Yeah, when you get these nice long green periods, it starts to settle in, and this is where you get that sort of nice that nice rhythm going. But you've got to be careful with the rhythm here because it's very easy for the tyres to just drop off all of a sudden and it will catch you out. The back end of the car does not look stable out there at all. I've been watching quite a few cars and they've been really struggling with the rear end. Looks like the rear end is very snappy. It's Hamish Gallagher just had a big moment on the exit of turn 4 there. The rear end is really looking like it's just out to get you. As we see Norman Clark moving past Ryan Jones now. Ryan Jones starting to fall back a little bit. He's got a bit of damage on the right front of that car, but he is just starting to struggle with his long run pace. And I feel like the slight sketchiness of the rear is probably what's catching him out a little bit. He might just be struggling a little bit with those rear tyres at the moment, just going through a phase, or he might just be just easing off a little bit and then going for a run later on. He might just be looking to go for a little bit of a run in the latter stages of this stint. But definitely a few of those drivers who are struggling with the rear at the moment. I think the rear tyres are going to be very limited here tonight.
Yeah, and with the heat as well, it's what was it? It's almost 40, wasn't it? Let me check the weather info again. So 35 degrees track temperature at the moment, so it's not extremely hot, but it is a bit warm as well to help make them a bit greasy on the rear.
Yeah, it's hot enough, isn't it? It's that sort of temperature where if you overheat the tyres, it's going to take you a good 4 to 5 laps to get them back into the operating temperature where they feel fairly comfortable to run on.
And the issue you have is you overheat them and you want to back off and save the tyres, cool them down a bit, but you're always under attack. With oval racing, there's always cars. You start doing that for a level 2 and all of a sudden you've got other cars on top of you wanting to get past you, and you're trying to find that balance between saving those tyres but also racing, as Jones just clipped the wall there a little bit.
Rubbing that wall a little bit of the grind along that wall, unfortunately. And sadly, there's not a nice big grass verge on the right hand side of the track that you can dip the tyres onto.
Yeah, have they patched that out yet or not?
I'm not 100% sure, but I thought I'd run into that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a tricky thing to do, and look, cooling tyres down is one of the harder things. If you get them out of their operating temperature, getting them back into that range is one of the harder things to do, and it's a technique that's not easy. Lachlan Abker's having a really good run at the moment. He seems to be very much in the running in this car. He's really enjoying it. He's just catching up to the back of Josh Micklemore at the moment. Tom Pritchard just between the two cars at the moment, a lap down. But Urquio's been setting some really good pace, same as Josh Micklemore actually. I've been sort of looking at their prior lap times, and they've been fairly consistent in some of the faster cars. As I say that though, Foster just sets an absolute blistering lap last time around, a fair bit faster. But it seems like a few of these cars have just decided to go a little bit later in the stint, and just as we were saying, saving a little bit for the latter stages of this stint, not
Mm.
going too fast too soon, and then starting to bring the pace out a little bit later in the stint.
Yeah, and in terms of lap times as well, I think the drop-off's about 1.5 seconds that we've seen so far after about 24, 25 laps of green flag running. I would say that's probably it. I would think it wouldn't drop off any more than 1.5. I don't think it's going to drop off to 2 seconds or 2.5 or anything.
Oh, well, looking down at some of the cars that didn't take tyres, they're sort of Nigel Patton's doing 33.8 at the moment. So
So he's
sort of
almost two
maybe,
seconds off, yeah.
yeah. So I'd say that about 2 seconds is going to be the drop off in the latter stages, as Aiden Schultz comes into the pit lane. But all of those cars that sort of just took fuel only, they're all in the low 30, sorry, the mid 33s, so it's 33.6, 33.8, 33.5. So that tells me that that's probably the biggest drop off. So they've still got a little bit of pace left in these tyres, but come another 5 to 10 laps, then they'll start dropping off into those periods. I think Aiden Schultz has decided to come in now, get his stop done. So he's one of the first cars to stop. Actually, it looks like he might have pulled
I think he's
out,
going to pull out.
unfortunately.
Yeah, the damage
Yeah.
to his car is. He had a bit of damage on the right hand side of his car, which I'm not sure where he's picked that up from, if it's from that incident earlier.
I think that might have been when he collected Steve Hoppett, unfortunately,
Hmm.
when he came back on the track. I think that may have been it because there was quite a bit of damage to Hoppett's car, and unfortunately, he had to take it behind the wall as well. Um, so I think that's where that damage came in. But this is the time where coming in could pay off for you in probably the next 4 laps. I'd say in about 4 laps' time, we might see some people coming into the pit lane and trying out a different stint, trying out a strategy of a little bit of an undercut. This could be their opportunity, but they need to do it in about 4 laps' time.
Yeah, once they're good to get home on one full tank of gas, and that's the time for them to pull the trigger.
So it is
As
Foster in the lead, who's got 2.5 seconds. As we can see, Stevie Dubb now making a move on Josh Micklemore. Stevie Dubb absolutely flying now, same as Oakrio. Those two have got some good pace in the latter stages of this stint. Micklemore struggling a little bit now. Stevie Dubb really able to pull it in, and he is having a great race at the moment.
Yeah, I think since we looked at them, they had traded places because I think Steve Up was third and Josh was fourth, and then when we cut back, we were seeing Stevie Dub make the move for third. So I think they're just trading back and forward on that position there.
Yeah, you are right. Sorry, there was that sort
It's alright.
of that moment.
Because I think Luke Jordanson has pitted, so he's pitted on bang on 50.
Yeah, he had a bit of damage, but he'll come and get the 4 tyres, maybe get a little bit of repair done. Stopping under green, of course, does hurt you a little bit. Brett
Hmm.
Campbell, I think, who is that? Sorry, Nigel Seidel's just come out as well. So Seidel's coming out too. And yeah, it was Brett Campbell. I should have trusted my first instinct. He was coming into pit lane, as well as who was that in the background? That was Ryan Jones. So Ryan Jones is one of the top runners to come in. He's decided it's time to come in for a fresh set of boots now, um, and get that undercut going. And this could force some of those drivers in the top 5, top 10 to pit a little bit earlier than they want to because they need to start thinking about a little bit of defence. So I would expect to see probably somebody like people from Norman Clark onwards coming down pit lane shortly, to sort of have a little bit of a defence against Ryan Jones, as Raymond Yeager does indeed do that. As we see Lachlan Oakvio now battling with Stevie Dubb, and these two have been fast all night. As I said, watch out for Oakvio. He's got some really good pace in that car. The Dogbox Sim Sports entry is really having a good run tonight.
He is, yeah. He's of course he had a big long break. He went overseas on holiday, and he's come back, and he's been pretty fast in most of the stuff he's jumped in. So it's been good to see.
Yeah, it seems if you're having some off time, we'll ship you off to Europe, and when you come back, you should hopefully have a bit more pace. So, seems to be the answer for it. But yeah, no, he's been having some good racing since he got back. Maybe not all of it, not the luckiest. He did have a couple of moments where he got unlucky. We saw him have the disconnect, of course, after qualifying on the front row. I think at the first race of the season.
Yeah. Oh no, Darlington last week he qualified on the. He might have got pole, or did Hamish get pole? But either way, on the warm up lap, on his street, a car hit a power pole and knocked out the power. So he, as on the warm up lap, he disappeared. So
Yeah, so typical Lachlan Oakville luck there.
yeah, but he definitely had pace because he was on the front row. So yeah, he was pretty disappointed by that.
No, absolutely, a real shame because it was one of those cars that had pace and was setting up to make an interesting run. Just looking through the leaders at the moment, they're setting 33 ones at the moment. The top three are at least, so there's still a little bit of pace left in those tyres. They're still setting some okay pace, but they've got to be thinking about coming down pit lane shortly, I'd say, just to start covering off some of those other drivers. So when will we see them come in? Do they stick it out until lap 65, maybe? Probably lap 70 at the latest. Because you don't want to leave you don't want to pit too late and end up being unable to catch the cars that have taken that stop. But you don't want to be caught out with a caution, of course. So they're going to be sitting out there just sort of one hoping for maybe a caution to come out, or two just going as long as possible so that they have a nice set of tyres on that final stint and can absolutely get home without any trouble at all.
Yeah, we're still seeing top 10 on the lead lap, and top 10 have only had the one pit stop. So everyone from 11th onwards has taken that second pit stop now, so they should be good to make it to the end from here. Jones is really the one you want to watch because he is one that makes the undercut work. Yeah, I seem to remember. Did he win Atlanta in the dark? I think because of the undercut. Yeah.
I think that was there was debate on who won that one.
Yeah.
There was a bit of debate because I think if you ask Andrew Dyson, he'll say he won it. If you ask
Yeah.
Ryan Jones, he'll say he won it. But no, Ryan Jones had a really good strategy there, and it's a shame that the lights failed on the track.
Yeah, I seem to recall. I think someone was only a couple of laps away from being passed. I think with the lead, and yeah. Anyway, I think it was Orlando. I'm not sure, but
We
yeah.
couldn't really see what was happening. It's
No, but he is definitely someone you want to watch for. He is someone who can make the undercut work. He's yeah, pretty good at that.
Yeah, his one problem's going to be though is if these guys can go an extra 20 or so laps over him, they're going to have so much fresher tyres, and we've seen the drop off. It does come, but it's a sort of gradual drop off here, and then it sort of plateaus after around about maybe about 20 or so laps. So I think he needs to really make hay while the sun shines, and it's just he's still a lap down at the moment. So if that caution falls, he's going to be really up the creek without a paddle. So he's really going to be hoping that no caution comes until he gets his lap back, of course. Oh,
Just as I jumped to Gallagher, he drilled the wall and almost lost it.
that was a heavy hit for Gallagher. Who was that coming into pit lane rather late there? Noddy Tompkins. Noddy Tompkins and Jamie Nankervis coming into pit lane. Noddy decided to take a rather late entry into pit lane. But here we are with Gallagher just seeing his moment as he brushed the wall. It's so easy to do though, and this is one of the other things we talk about is concentration. It's so easy to have that momentary lapse of concentration. All it takes is a couple of milliseconds. Hamish Gallagher and Josh Micklemore in, Jamie Nankervis in, Maddie Ray in. So they have pulled the plug. They've decided it's time to come in. I think maybe Hamish, with that little slide, he decided, no, I've had enough. I need to come into pit lane. I think Foster's coming in now, so Foster is indeed coming into pit lane. Will we see Stevie Dub and Urquio hold it out a bit longer? Looks like they are. So Stevie Dub's going to take the lead of this race with Urquio just behind him. How much further will they go? Lap 63. I think that's when I said that we'd probably see them
Yeah,
coming down pit lane. So
yep,
I think I got that right.
pretty good.
So currently it's Stevie Dub, Lachlan Urquio, and Ruben Phelps have left it out there. They've decided to stick it out and hope for a caution. They'll see how much further they can go. As Stevie Dub has a big moment with Patton. I think Stevie Dub was coming into pit lane. Nigel Patton was just coming under him. Almost a big accident there. Good reaction time from Patton. Ruben Phelps locks it up, coming into pit lane, just saves it. Ruben just manages to save that one. Lachlan Urquio, though, is the car that's out there. He's managed to go one lap longer. I imagine we'll see him popping into pit lane shortly, but he does earn himself that bonus point for leading a lap.
As Jones unlaps himself around the outside there. As Lockie is coming into the pits now.
Yeah, 47 laps, so that might be the fuel. That might just be fuel limited there rather than anything else. But Ryan Jones is now in the lead of this race. He has made the undercut work. He has got himself a nice bit of a lead over Foster of a good couple of tenths of a second. But he has much older tyres now, so it's only going to be a matter of a couple of laps before we see Foster sailing past him.
Just looking for the times to stabilise down now. So Foster's about a second behind him. Gallagher about 2.6. Jaeger, I think, is another one who's made the undercut work. He's 4.7.
Yeah, Jaeger came in. He came in 13 laps ago, so he's on a good 10 lap old tyres compared to the rest of the field.
Or runs on the wall.
Grinding up against the wall, and that is painful. Jaeger behind him has a big moment as well. Hamish Gallagher just had to avoid that. Jaeger had a big slide off the corner.
Yeah, that safer barrier is annoying because it's like a sticky tape. You get stuck to it and you just can't get the car off it, and it just slows you right down, and cars go flying past you as you're losing speed.
Sorry, that was Patton. Sorry, not Jaeger. I thought it was Jaeger just on the timing screens. It was Nigel Patton there in the 90. Just had a big slide as well. I think he was just thinking about avoiding Jones. Patton is a lap down. So he's just trying to be that car that's on the first car on the lead lap. Currently, that is Luke Georgeson just ahead of him. So he's trying to catch Georgeson just in case that caution flag does fly. He wants to be the lucky dog. But this has helped Foster out immensely. It's given Foster a little bit more of a lead over Gallagher. And Foster is on the freshest tyres of that group. Freshest tyres out there belong to Lachlan Urquio, who's the fastest car out on track at the moment. Lachlan Urquio trying to chase down Stevie Dub now. Stevie Dub just taking a bit of time, managing to gain a bit of time from that undercut stop. So, that's what we talk about, those fresher tyres. They do help you when you come out of pit lane. They give you a little bit more speed, give you a little bit more time. But the longer you stay out there, the more the tyres get worn. And eventually you'll get caught up to by those guys on the fresh tyres and they'll go sailing past you. So, he's going to have to make another stop. Same with Raymond Jaeger, I believe, with the fuel. So they won't be able to make it home on fuel from what we've seen with the other cars.
Oh, they might be right on the limit. I'm not sure. He might have to fuel save. Because the word was that you could get maybe 50 to 52 if you were careful with it at the beginning of the race. So, yeah. But he may have just rolled the dice and hoping for another caution to come out, and he can Because if another caution comes out, you go in the pits now, he keeps that track position, and then he gets a fresh set of tyres with everybody else.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, the longest stint we saw last time around was about 46.5 laps, I believe. So that sort of, I got a feeling that that might be the limit on fuel because imagine Urquio might have stuck it out a little bit longer, just have those fresher tyres for latter in the race.
Mm.
And we saw him take it to the longest point. So they could be a bit touch and go on fuel. So, as you say, rolling the dice a little bit, seeing if we get another caution. If another caution does come out, they'll be sitting in a very good spot for that. But at the moment, they're starting to hemorrhage positions. Lachlan Oakvio just getting past Jaeger now. He is shooting up the field just behind Stevie Dubb. Stevie Dubb is catching up to Ryan Jones at a vast rate of knots now. And he's going to be trying to get past him shortly as well. So we've got plenty of action out on track for round 3 of the ANZCAR Funder series here on Performance E-Streaming, and of course the ANZCAR the ANZCAR Facebook page even. So thank you again for joining us tonight. Always a pleasure to have you along, and we appreciate you joining us. We would not be able to do the broadcasting if it wasn't for you guys watching. So a big thank you to all of our viewers tonight, and I hope you're enjoying this race.
Jeez, did you see the difference in speed there? Fresh tyres versus old. Steve Williams just blasted past 3 cars, a couple of lap cars, and then Ryan on those older tyres. As Lockie's doing the same as well. In behind there is Ruben. He's on fresh tyres. Massive speed difference.
Yeah, these guys are on some of the freshest tyres on the track. They lost a bit of time overall, but they're gaining it back fairly quickly. They're a good couple of tenths faster than the cars in front of them, and this could pay off for them if they can make them run well. We could see them possibly looking at a podium finish. I think Foster and Gallagher are a little bit too far away, but Micklemore might be within their grasp if they can keep up this pace. They might be challenging Josh Micklemore for that position, but that is it is no mean feat to beat Josh Micklemore as well. So he's not going to just roll over and let them past. He will absolutely put up a fight. So it'll be fun to watch in the closing stages of this race. Quite a few cars down a little bit further back as well, fighting away. It's just looking a little bit further back. You've got Norman Clark starting to charge back as well on some fresh tyres. He is coming up to this group here, being led by Maddie Ray, I believe it is. Maddie Ray, Jamie Ann Curvis, and a couple of lapped cars in that group as well. But this is a really good little battle going along, and they're catching up very quickly to Ryan Jones and Raymond Jaeger, who's fallen off the pace. Raymond Jaeger's actually fallen back past Maddie Ray and Curvis now, so that undercut not working out for those drivers that decided to take it. It's they really need a caution flag to come out to get back in this race. As the caution flag does come out, their wishes have just been answered.
Let's see if we can find maybe Brett Campbell. Let's have a look at the timing data. Let's see if we can find out. Oh, yep.
It was Brett.
So it's there.
He's had a big moment getting up. He's had quite a lot of damage to the car. I wonder if his engine's gone pop.
Yeah, there was a telltale sign of smoke there. So if we have a look at this here.
His engine's gone pop on the exit of turn 2.
Yep.
And then he's tried to get it into the pit lane, and then it's locked up on him.
You can see here as he comes out the corner. Speed it up again. Boom, there she goes, yeah. So that big trail smoke and he's blowing the engine.
So, pit lane again for everybody. Everybody's going to come down pit lane this time. Slap on that last set of tyres. This could be good news for some of those drivers that didn't take the tyres earlier on. So I think if Nigel Patton does get his lap back, that could work out well for him. Um,
See if there's any takers for 2 tyres only.
I think it'll be a brave
Yeah,
move to take two. I think four is the best
they're all
option.
looking like 4. Yep.
And Foster gets out. It is Josh Micklemore that beats out Hamish Gallagher. So Josh Micklemore has beaten his teammate out there. That is important for positions. So Micklemore manages to beat out Gallagher. Um, so that's going to shake things up a little bit. This is exactly what Ryan Jones and Raymond Yeager needed. Just hearing from Brett Campbell in the chat, collected Nigel a few laps ago, and the engine just went, unfortunately for him. And that's one of the problems sometimes when you do catch a little bit of damage is the radiator gets damaged, and on these cars it is very easy for that big V8 motor to basically cannibalize itself and go boom.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to mess with the front of these and the cooling, and they sort of overheat and sometimes you get a bad hit, and unfortunately it makes the engine overheat and go boom. But
Well, when you talk about
yeah,
the cooling on these cars, I mean, if we get a look at the front of one of these cars, um, sort of, if we can jump on the gearbox of somebody.
let's go the gearbox of go Hamish.
There we go. So we're looking at Stevie Dub just behind. You see, just on the front of the car there, you sort of see the two grills on the outside of the show. They're just painted on. So they're effectively just decals. In the middle there is the grill itself. You see just on the right hand side next to that little plate, that is the actual grill. So just on Lachlan Oakfield's car, you can see there, just that white plate next to that is the grill itself, and that's the bit that lets the air in. That's the only bit of cooling on these cars, effectively. That is your radiator. So there is not much. There's not much area for airflow to get in. And that is why sometimes when you have a big crash on the front, they can overheat quite quickly. And obviously, there's not a huge area for the radiator on these cars. These things are very much finely tuned racehorses with the old engines, and they need to be kept at a certain temperature. So that's why you don't have a huge cooling duct. The other reason for that, of course, is more cooling you've got, the more drag you've got as well. So it makes you go slower. So you don't want to have a big huge radiator on the front of these cars. You just want the smallest one possible, but one that will actually make the car last. So they're always running on the edge of overheating. Sometimes even on some tracks you're running at, you sort of get into the temperature range where the old crew chief will tell you the car is getting hot, even when you're running out on your own with nobody around you. Once you get into traffic and things like that, that is when the temperatures can shoot up. So it's all about the risk and reward and all about getting that temperature right. And then when you get some damage, the car can go pop very quickly and very easily.
Yeah, I had a race last season where I had damage on the front and the car was overheating. And so essentially at the end of every straight, my crew chief was saying your car's getting high, your water temperature's getting high. But then if I go for the corner, it would slow it down and cool the engine down. And then, yeah, so at the end of every straight, I was getting the call that it was too hot.
Yep, I think I was at I think I was at Atlanta once, and I had to lift off in the middle of the straight to get the engine cool. By the time I got to the corner, it was a miserable race. But we are getting back to green flag now. Foster in the lead. When does he go? He's waiting. Goes early. Catches a few people napping there. Great restart from Foster. Pulls away nicely. Hamish Gallagher's going to want to try and get Micklemore on this restart. Micklemore's going to want to try and get ahead of Hamish. So Gallagher on the inside gets a nice run. Looks like Gallagher's going to get back that second place. Look at Lachlan Oakpio. He's got a great run as well. Stevie Dubb in the wall. Stevie Dubb's going around. He catches Ruben Phelps. Caution flag is out, and that is the big damage to Stevie Dubb's car there. I think Ruben might have gotten away with this one, but there will be some damage to the front of that car. But Stevie Dubb got spun completely. He got into the wall, and a lot of big moment for him. Luckily, though, I don't think he caught any more damage than what we saw there. But that was unfortunate. That could have been much worse than it was, though, with those cars so high up the field.
Oh, yeah, it was what we're going to see a big wreck there. Let's see if we can find out what happened there. We've steered it up.
So it looks like he just scrubs wide, gets
Oh
up in the
yeah.
wall, bounces off, and then collects Ruben, and
Yep.
round he goes.
So not too bad overall for the type of incident it was. It wasn't too bad. But
It could have been a lot worse damage-wise to those boys. They got very lucky indeed. Any takers for pit lane at the moment? We've got 18 laps remaining. These tyres have done barely any laps at all, so nothing really. I think we might see Stevie Dub coming down pit lane just to get repairs done. But I think he's used up all his tyres already in this race. So he's just going to get a couple of quick repairs done, get back out on track, and then get back into the race. Luke Georgeson's going to get the lucky dog, so he's going to get back onto the lead lap. So that is good news for Georgeson. So he's going to be looking at getting back into this race. And good evening, Gail. Gail Foster in the chat just asking about Mr. Steve Hoppett. Unfortunately, he was taken out early in this race after an accident with a car rejoining the track. Unfortunately, Steve got caught up in that one and taken out early in this race. So we lost Hoppett earlier on in this race. Sadly, the Mad Dog was taken out back with the old shotgun and taken out of the race early.
yes, unfortunately. It looked like Stevie Williams was only getting damaged, repaired in the pits here, which makes perfect sense because he's now unfortunately at the end of the lap or end of the line really. So he's got no positions he can really lose. So he might as well come in and get his repairs done and then try and fight his way through with the 18 laps to go.
Like even a couple of seconds of repair can be a difference of a couple of tenths of a second, so it's well worth taking that little bit of a gamble. He's not going to lose any spaces from it, so he's going to come down and get those done. So it's now Nigel Patton with the car in the lucky dog spot, so he'll hope for another caution so we can get back on the lead lap, but we're all going to hope for no more cautions, of course, so we can see this race run to the very end. Patton could be one to watch out for, though, as I believe he has a set of tyres up his sleeve, so if he can get back on the lead lap and we get a restart, he could be in a really good spot later on. If we get a green-white checker situation, he might be able to get a handful of positions with some fresh boots on that car. So he could be a bit of a wild bit of
Wild
a
card.
wild card. That's that's what I was looking for.
Probably not a bit of a wild horse.
No, that's it. I don't know why I was saying wild horse there. I had something else on the mind, but it's it'll be interesting to see how that one runs out. So getting back into 2x2 motion. Foster in the lead ahead of Gallagher, Micklemore and Urquio, Jones, Phelps, Raymond Nankervis, Clark and Jaeger, top 10 at the moment. Going to have 15 lap run to the end when the pace car comes in. So this should be a really fun little sprint to the end.
That was a great restart there from Foster, that last one. So he'll be trying to do that again, really. See if
he's going to be.
Yeah, let's see. He now has Hamish on the outside though, not behind him, and Josh is behind him. So yeah, Hamish, we're keeping an eye on it and see if he can go with Foster a bit better this time.
Yeah, he's going to be hoping to get another strong finish tonight. He's an equal holder of the top 10, some of the best finishing top 10 drivers out there as well. He's got a 78% finishing rate in the top 10 with Hamish Gallagher and Brenton Hobson as well, who's not currently out there. Hobbo, who has had a sensational career with ANZCAR since he joined. He's definitely one of the highest percentage ratio winning drivers we've got at the moment because he's relatively new to the series. But Foster and Gallagher, it just shows their skill level and just the fact that they are always up there. 78% of the time they're in the top 10, which speaks enormously about their skill level. As I say, happy 5th birthday to ANZCAR. We get ready for the green flag. Foster waits and he drops it, gets away nicely there in the restart zone and gets another beautiful restart. This time, though, Micklemore gets the better of his teammate Gallagher. Micklemore's going to try and get the run up. Gallagher runs a little bit high here. Looks like Urquio might have a chance of making a move here as well on Gallagher. Urquio getting a good run underneath him. There's a little bit of contact between Urquio and Gallagher there. But Urquio holding position in the 42. He's looking to make the move. Looking to get up ahead of Hamish. And he might be able to do it here. Hamish trying his best. He's going to try and get underneath him now. Gets a good run across the start-finish line. The 13 getting a really nice sprint up. Gets up beside Hamish. Gets up beside Lachlan Urquio here. He's going to try and get down on the inside. Try and get another run here. Just a little bit further back. Ruben Phelps slides up in front of Ryan Jones. It's a battle between Gallagher and Urquio at the moment. Norman Clark having a fantastic restart as well. Norman Clark shooting up the order like a whippet with a bum full of dynamite. At the moment, he's flying along, so he's in with a good shout tonight as well. But Foster is pulling away at the front. He's managed to get a nice lead with 12 laps remaining. The battle is behind him, and there's one heck of a battle in the mid-pack. Look at Matty Ray holding back a whole heap of cars.
Yeah, I was keeping the camera on that because it looked like they were going to go 4 wide there for a bit. Looks like they've sort of settled down a little bit more 2x2. We'll go back up the front and have a look. They've sort of settled down there. Foster's cleared out by half a second. Micklemore second. Gallagher third. Urquio in fourth. There's a good bit of back and forward between Gallagher and Urquio there. A bit of slide jobs and crossovers, as we see.
A little bit further back. We've got wide.
Stevie Williams is going for it. He's up to 9th already. I think he restarted probably about 15th or 16th.
Yeah, he had some, came in for those repairs, of course, and he is absolutely flying along. Stevie Dubb is really making up for that mistake he had earlier in getting back those positions. Great run from him, but up the front, Foster is leading, and he is just setting lap after lap, very fast laps at the moment. He is really gunning for it. Micklemore's managed to pull out a little bit of a gap over Gallagher. The main battle, though, is from Matty Ray onwards. We've got Matty Ray, Raymond Yeager, Jamie Nankervis, Stevie Dubb. Then it is Ryan Jones and Ruben Phelps. Those two absolutely battling. Brad Fenley just sitting in behind them as well, trying to get in on the action. Great racing going on. 10 laps to go here at Kansas Speedway here. And it is all action at the front. Matty Ray getting on the back of Norman Clark. Now this fight is getting heated up. Really good action in the mid-pack at the moment.
Not really a surprise to see Matty Ray knocking on the door of a top 5 at the end of a race, is it?
No,
Starts
not
way
at
down
all.
the field, and leading to the race, he's knocking on the door of a top 5.
Matty Ray getting 15 positions at the moment. Not unusual for him. We're used to seeing him work his way through the field nicely. He's not a huge fan of the old qualifying process, but he loves racing his way up through the field, and he is very good at it indeed. So again, having a great run through the field at the moment. 15 positions gained. Jamie Nankervis as well, 14 positions gained in 8th position. So good run from Jamie tonight. He's having a solid run up there. Another driver that is really doing good jobs of improving, and he is going to hope for a nice strong finish tonight. So he'll be absolutely keen on that. And Brad Fenley sitting in 9th at the moment, 10 positions gained. He'll be again hoping for a good finish. He just got past Ryan Jones, so he's having a really strong end to this race. So the main battle at the moment is Norman Clark, Matty Ray. Raymond Yeager just touches the wall. This is going to give Nankervis the run. Jamie Nankervis gets a great run down the inside of Yeager. Those two fighting it out side by side at the moment. Cigarette paper between those two cars. Great racing there.
Yeah, great job by Jamie Nankervis there to keep the car off. You could kind of see he was battling a really tight car there, and it's cost him a little bit of speed, but he's kept it off the 23. Interesting to see that the 23 Yeager has sort of recovered. That caution has worked for him. He was certainly dropping down. He was well outside the top 10. Then that late caution came in, got some tyres, and he's now running up in 7th, battling for 7th and 8th.
He is indeed. Luke Georgeson having a big moment off the exit of the corner, but manages to catch it up. So good news for him. But yeah, that was exactly what needed to happen for Yeager and for Yeager and Jones. They needed that caution to come out to save their races. Jones, not so much. He's having a bit of a harder race at the moment. I think quite a bit of damage to his car. He took a big hit to the wall, but Jaeger has managed to recover from that one for sure. So it is Foster in the lead. He's just got over half a second ahead of Mickelmore. Mickelmore is slowly catching. He's sort of trying to eat away at it, but not too many laps to go. Mickelmore is catching Foster, though. He is eating away at that gap. He is getting closer to Foster, and he's importantly in that position where he can get a little bit of that draft. Meanwhile, Maddie Ray has just made a move on Norman Clark. Those two battling it out at the moment, having a great back and forth. Norman Clark going down the inside. Those two really going for it, battling over 5th position at the moment. Two veterans of the ANZCAR field battling away. Great to see. Great action here. Here at Kansas at the moment. 3 and a bit laps remaining. Whose race is it going to be? It's still anybody could get it, but it is looking good for Foster. Mickelmore is catching him though. He is taking down that gap. Seems like Gallagher's just dropped off a little bit. He's just unable to keep with the pace of the leaders. Urquio in 4th. He's sort of settled into that spot. The main battle is between Maddie Ray and Norman Clark at the moment, I would say.
Yeah, and it looks like Stevie Williams is dropping back a bit now. He's burned those tyres off maybe, or overheated them up a little bit too much. He was pretty aggressive in that early run there, but unfortunately it might have come at a bit of a cost there.
Yeah, of course, that damage as well, probably not helping in the slightly longer run pace too. So a shame for him. He was having a really good run up until that point. See Ryan Jones making a move on Jaeger. So those two still fighting it out. And Jaeger now going down the inside of Jones. So good battles going on there down the field as well. So we've got fights going on throughout the field at the moment, which is always what we like to see. Always fun stuff.
Looks like it takes a couple of laps to get a passing move done because, yeah, you get the pass done and then they get a chance to get past your back, and there's a bit of backward and forward for a couple of laps before it settles in.
Yeah, it's sort of setting it up, and that's the important thing on a racetrack like this. You've just got to set it up and get it in the right position. Looks like Maddie Ray has managed to absolutely get the move done on Norman Clark now, and he has managed to pull out a bit of a gap. He is comfortably there, so the top 7 are pretty much comfortable at the moment. Ryan Jones, top 6 I should say, because the top 7 is Ryan Jones and Jamie Nankervis, and they are absolutely fighting it out. But white flag is out. Foster is in the lead. Foster is coming around for the final time. He's just ahead of Josh Mickelmore, and it is going to be the 53 of Edward Foster and Atari Autosport taking the victory tonight, just ahead of Josh Mickelmore, Hamish Gallagher, Lachlan Urquio, Maddie Ray, Norman Clark. Jamie Nankervis manages to hold on to 7th. Ryan Jones in 8th, Raymond Jaeger in 9th, Brad Fenley in 10th. Good job from Brad Fenley. Biggest position gainer of the night is Maddie Ray, to nobody's surprise. 16 positions gained, but Jamie Nankervis close second with 15 spots.
Mr. Sheen bringing it home. Top 5. No surprise.
We have to inspect that car with a fine-tooth comb now, just to make sure there's no scratches on it. Of course, if we do find a scratch on that car, he does get disqualified. As are the rules for Maddie Ray. Now, great race in there from all of those drivers, and Foster is absolutely doing the burnout and celebrating in style.
All right, I think we'll run through some results. Right, so coming home in first position was Edward Foster, and second was Josh Mickelmore, third was Hamish Gallagher, Lachlan Urquio in 4th, Maddie Ray in 5th, Norman Clark in 6th, Jamie Nankervis in 7th, Ryan Jones in 8th, Raymond Jaeger in 9th, and Brad Finley in 10th. Ruben Phelpson brought it home in 11th, Tom Neal in 12th, Wesley Closely, 13th position, Adam Tyson 14th, Stephen Williams in 15th, 16th was Luke Georgeson, 17th Nigel Patton, Noddy Tompkins in 18th, Brett Campbell in 19th, and Nigel Siddell in 20th. And 21st, Tom Pritchard. 22nd, Aidan Schultz. And 23rd, Steve Hobbit.
In the end, a really good race, and look, fantastic job by all indeed, and look, some good racing throughout the field, which is what we want to see. And unfortunately, a couple of cars getting taken out early on, but look, them keeping it up there, and we didn't really see too many accidents that brought out the caution. There were sort of few single spins and of course an engine blow up, but most of the racing was very fair and sort of managed to keep it on the track and not a huge amount of damage when they did make contact, which is what we love to see when people can continue on racing.
Yeah, we had a few close calls there, but uh, yeah, a few drivers got a bit lucky and got away with a few things, but that's good. Means they were still able to keep racing.
Absolutely. So what we'll do is we'll grab up the third place man, Mr. Hamish Gallagher, for the Mitch Motorsport team, and have a little bit of a chat to him. Hamish Gallagher, welcome to the broadcast booth. A little bit early for you to come up here. I mean, it's not always that we bring you up first. I mean, usually you're the last to be brought up. P3 for you tonight. It didn't all go your way.
Nah, yeah, no, I was slow tonight. But yeah, but it's good to talk to you, Carl. It's been a long time, feels like, on a Wednesday night. So I hope everything's, or some things, hopefully going better for you. Yeah, no, it's just too slow tonight. Ed was on it, and he had that thing wrapped up pretty much from the start of the race. So well done, Ed.
Now, is this the problem of taunting Edward Foster to come back and drive? Is this a mistake on your part, or
Well, I mean, it's true. Like anytime he jumps in, he's always like there or thereabouts. He picked me for a couple of cup championships, and then he just sort of casually jumped in for a truck championship there and won that as well. So he talks himself down a lot, but he's he's a very good driver. So yeah, no, he had the thing wound up tonight, but yeah, I couldn't figure it out, because the car was always sliding. It was either tight or it was loose, and then it was back and forward in the same corner, and then four wheel sliding at times. So yeah, I just didn't have it figured out. So yeah, we had a fun little battle there at the end there with Lockie, a bit of side by side action. That was cool. But yeah, otherwise it wasn't really much going on for me tonight.
no? It was good to see the battle you had with Lockie and a little bit with your teammate as well. We saw that battle of pit lane between yourself and Josh.
Yeah, I almost stalled at when we had that pit stop under green. So I'll give it a bit more gas here, and then she just lit up. Like, oh, okay, made it even worse. So yeah, that's how it goes sometimes.
That is not what you want to do. Look, I felt like another solid run for you. I mean, even when you're having a bad run, you still get a fairly good finish. I mean, start of the season probably not what you want, but you're starting to get back up there, bit back to normality for yourself. So one win already in three races, and then a P3. So obviously a bad start to the season, but it's starting to come back to you now. How confident are you for season 3 of the championship?
It's hard to tell because I'm going to miss tomorrow next week. So that'll be I've already used a drop round basically at Daytona, and then I'm going to use another one next week. So like basically can't afford to have one bad race after this because Josh and all those other the usuals up front, they'll be nipping at the heels to try and get a championship. So yeah, it'll be interesting. That should spice things up for sure at this final championship.
You just want to make it hard on yourself. It should be interesting. We're looking forward to the rest of the season. Look, congratulations on tonight. It didn't look the easiest car out there. I did mention a couple of times in the race, whenever I jumped to your car, it looked like the back was wanting to overtake the front of the car most of the time. So did not look like the easiest car to get around there. But you managed to do it, and you managed to finish in third position. So not a bad result all in all.
Yeah. No, so I guess still okay. Just yeah, it doesn't turn up for too many of those races. It would have been fun to race them, but it was just too good. So yeah, that's how it is, I guess.
You'll just have to damage him a little bit, so slow him down, and then you can race him properly.
Yeah, he did give me a bit of a hip and shoulder when he got past me. He was like, oh,
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, he wasn't messing around. He was here to put his stamp on the things.
I saw you got very close to his rear bumper as well, just after that. So it didn't go unnoticed.
Yeah, no,
No,
it's
look,
full fun and games.
Congratulations on tonight, Hamish. The usual thing, shout out and love to all of your fans and sponsors and people in general.
Yeah, Josh, you'll probably handle all that for me. So I'll just give a shout out to the Mad Dog, Steve Hoppett. He got a race win the other night in this Xfinity car. He's on his string. Took it 3 wide at Daytona to get it done as well, so that's pretty good. So shout out to Steve. And yeah, just thank you guys for doing the broadcast and for Maddie for organising the races for us.
Thank you so much, Hamish, and always happy to give a shout out to Mr. Hoppett. Shame he had a bit of bad luck tonight. Hopefully next time it will be a bit better. Hopefully we'll
normal,
get
unfortunately for Steve.
Yeah, I know. It was back to normality after the victory.
Yeah, exactly.
Congratulations on tonight, and I'm sure I'll speak to you again at some stage soon. I'll try and get back up to do some commentary for you again soon, Hamish.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, thank you, Carl.
Hamish Gallagher there for Mitch Motorsport. Next up, we'll grab up the second place man, another driver for Mitch Motorsport, Mr. Josh Micklemore. Josh Micklemore, congratulations on P2 tonight, and welcome to the booth. Very well deserved P2 for yourself.
Yeah, wasn't too bad. Pretty little bit of a chaotic race during the race to get back up through the field, but it was good fun. It's a good track, and yeah, we had some good fun tonight.
Yeah, we saw you drop off a little bit in the early stages. Was that sort of a little bit of a mistake putting too much through the tyres, or were you just trying to save a little bit?
Nah, I'm not sure if you've seen the incident. I was sort of trying to slide job Ryan Jones. I think we sort of touched, and I probably wasn't quite clear, and we touched, and then I lost a lot of. I nearly actually spun out, to be honest with you, because we had a bit of an incident or whatever, and then I went back to 10th from that. But yeah, had to crawl my way back up again.
No, we did catch that one. And you did work your way back up there again nicely. We were talking through the broadcast, of course. It's the 5th birthday of ANZCAR, and we were talking about some of the stats as well. And your top 10 finishing rate is one to be admired. And again, you finish in the top 10 and another P2 finish tonight. You must be pretty chuffed with that one.
Yeah, P2 tonight. I think we haven't finished the top 3 in the last 3 weeks. So leading the championship as well. So we're going to try and beat Hamish this year, or this season, I should say, anyway. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, having a good roll with a 3rd and 2 seconds now. Just need to get that win.
Look, I'm sure it will come soon. And I mean, look, the big thing is to get that championship win and just knock Hamish Gallagher off the championship post with the Xfinity car.
Yeah, we'll try and knock him off. I think I've been second to him a couple of times the last 4 seasons or something. So yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Look, if anyone can do it, I've got faith in you, Joshy. It was not the easiest car out there tonight. It did look a little bit of a handful.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It's kind of a weird setup, man. It's really tight, and then it was real loose off, sort of thing. Sort of hard to get a head around. In practice, I wasn't confident with the car at all, but sort of started to get there a bit through the race. But Ed definitely had it dialed in the best tonight. So, but yeah.
No, you absolutely made it pay off, and that pit stop at the sort of final pit stop as well, jumping Hamish, that must have helped a little bit for yourself.
Yeah, we were saying as I was coming in, after I come in the pits, I'm like, bloody hell, I only just made that. And he must have looked in the revision mirror and he said, yeah, all I could see was smoke. So I was coming in real hot to try and make some extra time. And obviously that paid off in the pits and managed to jump in the pits. But yeah, no, it was good fun.
Look, congratulations tonight, Joshy. Well done on a well-deserved P2, and congratulations on the championship so far. Hopefully it will continue, and hopefully we'll get you back in the booth soon. But before I let you go, the usual thing of shout out and love to sponsors.
Yeah, just our sponsors, of course, Affinity Constructions Australia and Meadows Designs. Yeah, I have a shout out to Stephen Williams tonight as well. We had a good bit of a battle. I'm not sure if you guys seen it on the broadcast, but there was slide job after slide job for about 6 or 7 laps, and that was really good fun. So yeah, cheers for the wicked dirt racing styled racing tonight, Stephen, and yeah, and you guys for broadcasting as well.
Absolutely, thanks for that little bit of entertainment. It was good fun watching you and Stevie Job have a good battle.
Yeah, it was good fun, man.
Cheers so much, Joshy. Look, hopefully we'll get you back in the booth soon, and good luck for the rest of the season.
All right, cheers, boys.
And finally, we're going to grab up the race winner for Natari Autosport, Mr. Edward Foster, with number 53, taking out the victory here tonight at Kansas Speedway. Edward Foster, congratulations on that win.
Yeah, it's been a good week, hasn't it? Managed the trucks on Monday and then tonight. So, it's been going all right so far.
Well, you've got to make it 3 in a row now, so good luck tomorrow.
I hope so. It'd be great.
um, really good run out there tonight. You had some great pace. Obviously, qualifying not quite there for yourself, but the race pace was fantastic.
Yeah, I'm not great at qualifying, as most people have probably figured out by now. I normally sort of, wind up on the. If I have a good day, I'm on the second row. But normally sort of third or fourth row, I'm around there. But yeah, the race pace is pretty good, as you would have seen. I like this place; always kind of treats me well. And it just kind of harks back to the old technique I used to use here in the Gen 6, and that always worked pretty well. So yeah, pretty happy.
It looked pretty comfortable out there for you tonight. I mean, you had some good racing at points, but you pretty much had that lead sort of nailed most of the race. And once you got out there, you were pretty much untouchable.
Yeah, I mean, I was starting to have a look at Hamish and just play with that bottom line just before that first caution came out, because the bottom sort of could work. It was going to be hard to get something done down there, but I was going to at least explore it. But before I got a chance to sort of find out, the caution came out. Then, of course, off the restart, we had, I think, Matty Patton in front, only took 2 tyres. So he was there. Hamish was on the outside, and I just thought, oh, well, it's a lot easier to get these moves done on fresh tyres. And I wanted to do it as soon as I could. So I thought, oh, forget it. I'll go straight through the middle and see what happens. And, they're both fairly solid sort of blokes. And we got through there okay. Trusted them. And, they obviously trusted me. So that was all good. Got through there. And, then it was just a case of trying to sort of keep the car balanced, and off we went.
And off you went. You did indeed. A really good run from yourself. I mean, that final caution coming out, I mean, I imagine you weren't too happy to see it.
Look, I wasn't thrilled about it, to be honest. And the one that came in straight away, because I got a really good restart off that second last caution. Then the next one came out. My next restart wasn't so good. So, it made it a bit hard. And I was trying to, because it's a lot easier to pass here. Like, you can get the bottom to work when you're on fresh tyres, so you can kind of send one down underneath. So what I wanted to do off that restart is build enough of a gap, go absolutely hell for leather and make it so no one was able to get down my inside. And then hopefully they wouldn't be able to pass later in that run, as we sort of got towards about 5 to go. But in so doing, I ran it a bit hard and I actually cooked the right front off it. So Josh started catching me and I was a bit sort of concerned there for a couple of laps. But yeah, managed to hold on. It was all good.
Look, a really good run tonight. A bit of a dominant one as well for you, so that's always nice. And as you said, a good week so far. Hopefully that will carry on tomorrow night as well. You must be pretty chuffed as well, team-wise. I mean, 2 of the cars in the top 6 tonight.
Yeah, it's Norman had a good run. He's been putting in some good ones lately. So, yeah, sort of expected that there'd be a few guys potentially rubbing the wall tonight. Especially with guys trying to run that top line and run around near the wall. There's going to be a few guys doing that. So Norman just focused on not running into anything, keeping the car nice and clean, and he picked up the spots, and he reckons he was coming through like an absolute demon there at the end. So, he's going well.
Good to see indeed. We're going to see you again on a Wednesday night, or is this just when you have time?
Well, Hamish invited me. So, I don't know. Maybe you won't invite me again. I'm not sure. But, no, look, I mean, possibly, yeah, it just sort of depends how I'm feeling. I do like to take a couple of days off sim racing during the week, and I usually have Wednesday as one of those. I'll sit there and either watch the broadcast or just sort of chill out on the couch with the family and, switch off for a little bit and not think about sim racing for a while. Look, if the mood takes me, I'll be back. If not, I'll keep watching. You never know, you might have me back in the box at some point if you need me. So, who knows? I guess we'll decide week to week.
Absolutely, Gallagher absolutely kicking himself for inviting you back on the track tonight for sure. Congratulations, Ed, on a brilliant win. The usual thing, a shout out and love to sponsors and people in general.
Yeah, well, shouts out to everybody. Everyone drove great tonight. It's always good when guys are in the green room in Discord after the race, sort of high-fiving each other, virtually, of course, but, talking about how good a race they had and how much fun they had and all the rest of it. That's how you want a race to finish. It's not so much about the results, about that. So it sounds like everybody had good fun. Everyone enjoyed the night. So shouts out to all of them. Shouts out to you guys for the broadcast and everything like that, and obviously Norman for his P6 again, and AJD and Fully Flawed team sponsors, and yeah, I think that covers it.
It does indeed. Look, thank you so much, Edward Foster. Congratulations again, and I'm sure we'll see you back in the booth at some stage, be it as a winner or doing a little spot of commentary maybe in the future.
Yeah, we'll see, man. Absolutely.
And good luck tomorrow night.
Thanks, mate.
So, Maddie Hunter, another race done for the Thunder tonight here at Kansas, and we had some really good racing out there tonight.
Yeah, it was great. There was battles all up through down the field, which is really awesome to see. Which is what you really want. It was pretty hard to pick what you should be watching because there was just so much going on up and down throughout the field. It was a really good, exciting race.
No, absolutely. A great one to have, and look, very happy with that race. Something fantastic to watch. We'll just run through... oh no, you've run through the finishing order already, so we won't worry about that one. So we will wrap it up here. Of course, we have the Cup tomorrow night, don't we, Mr. Hunter?
We do indeed. Yep, we have the Cup race. So that will be broadcast here on the YouTube channel and Facebook. Yeah, so that, and then next week the Thunder Series heads to Bristol. We've got the Truck Series on Monday night as well. Off the top of my head, I can't remember where that is. But I just remember that was the one thing I was meant to do this week, so I'll get a bit better organised on that information. Yeah, so next week we'll be at Bristol for the Thunder Series, which will be fun. And yeah, can't think of anything else at the moment we need to cover.
Oh, well, hopefully we will see everybody there. So big thank you to everybody for joining us tonight and watching the broadcast. We really appreciate it. We would not be able to do it without you. Of course, big thank you to Mr. Maddie Hunter for doing all of the hard work behind the scenes. I am, as ever, Carl Wilkinson with you, and I wish you a good night, and we will see you all again soon. Thank you very much. Good night.